Right, good afternoon campers. Time for the last wild camp of the year. It is, I don't know what day it is, 28th December, and conditions are incredibly still and quiet, and I'm going to be camping just over on the peninsula here, which is a spot I've used before. But there's a reason I'm using this particular location, apart from it being relatively level and comfortable. I've got a very special tent review. Might even be I think it's a UK first. I think it might be a world first, because I've not seen anybody else do it yet. But there's a particular tent that I've been waiting months for, which was on a Kickstarter project. I invested in it, I gambled, and it arrived yesterday, much to my surprise, and I am going to pitch it, talk all about it. This wild camp is basically all about this particular tent, so all will be revealed when I start to pitch it. Needless to say, I'm very excited about it, because for me it irons out all the issues I've had through hiking, particularly in bad weather. And it's I consider it to be a 4-season tent. I've obviously had a look over it already, and very happy with it so far, but it's got a number of unique features, I would suggest. So yeah, really, weight wise, it does come in the ultralight category. It can actually be sub 1 kilo, or it can be heavier depending on what your threshold is. But even at the heavier weight, we're looking at 1400 grams, 1.4. So even then it's not heavyweight, and but the versatility this tent gives you is beyond anything else, comfortably. And also I think the protection it gives you puts it above most tents as well. So done some initial little checks on it to check a few things, which I'll cover off, but yeah, really happy with what I've seen so far. Definitely scope for a few mods, but nothing, the essential important things are all in place for this. So today what we have is, I have one of the first in the UK and the world, because I think they've only made about 400 of them, I've got the pro version of the Thecatal Wind Anchor. Now you may have seen the promo videos with some weird AI sort of commentary calling it the wind anchor and other things, but so this is how it arrived in a plastic bag. So we've got two bags here. We've got the main tent. This weighs in 1057 grams, including some fairly hefty pegs, which I'll show you. Well, at least two of them are anyway. And here is the thing that really makes this tent stand out for me, is the fly sheet. But the actual tent itself, so you don't need to worry about the fly sheet. It did come as well with a ground sheet. Well, I got two actually. So I've got two ground sheets, but I haven't brought either of them with me. They're exactly the same shape as the tent, and you can actually use them on top of the tent to as a smaller fly sheet stroke sun stroke rain shelter. But the main fly sheet is in a league of its own. But I haven't even used the fly sheet yet. I've only put the tent up. I put it up indoors and in my garden just to check a couple of things, mainly that my sleep mat would fit, which is the Big Agnes Rapide SL, and it does. It's almost like it's made for it. It's a tight fit, but it means the mat will not be able to slide about anywhere. So I've got the 183 centimetre long version, the regular version, I'm 6'2". I've laid down in the tent, and yeah, I think it works for me. But I'm going to put it up, and I'm going to take you through some of its features. I'm going to camp in it tonight. I've not seen anybody doing that. I've seen loads of promo videos, but nobody actually camping in it. I'm going to check it for condensation. It's going to be a condensation fest tonight because there's no wind. We've got the damp, moist sea air, so this should be a real good test of it, because it's single skinned, and then when you put the fly sheet over the top, it becomes double skinned. So I'm going to have the fly sheet on it, but there are other things you can do. It's got venting and all sorts, so I'll show you as I go through it. But so yeah, it's a wind anchor, a Thecatal Wind Anchor, finally arrived. I should point out, I forgot to mention, I'll show you what came in the bag. So you've got the main bag. It comes with a couple of guy lines, which I haven't worked out exactly what they're for yet, which points they lock onto, and some other bits here which I haven't worked out, a strap and that, but they I haven't really got to the bottom of them yet, but strapping something in there. And it comes with these straps here, which is good. It's very easy to pack up, and put it back in its bag. You get these two straps there, and I'll stick them in the bag, but it's really easy to pack up. And in the tent, so you got your pole, single pole, bungee cord together, about 5mm I would guess, but fine. And the pegs, there's going to be some moans and groans about these pegs, but you see you get these two monster pegs. These are got to be 9-inch. These are 8-9-inch pegs. These are to the ends. These are for both ends, and then you've got these. Oh, there's another bungee cord there, and you've got these for these sides. It's really the two end ones that you need to be worrying about, and actually I think these will be perfectly adequate for the sides when you see, but I'm sure someone will watching will have a hissy fit and, oh, they're no good. Well, actually I think they are good enough when you see how this thing sets up. But and that's it. So so that's what we've got to set it up, and I'm going to use what they've sent. So I've got other pegs with me which I'm going to mod to use, but in these conditions these pegs are definitely good enough. So I'll just crack on and I'll bring you back and show you how far I've got. Right, so we're now pitched in the standard ultralight configuration. No footprint. It's pretty taut. 4 pegs, that's all it took. And I could add other pegs, but there really is no need, because this tent basically relies on you being in it. It's got no flaps and things at the minute, so once you're in it, this thing's not going anywhere. The big long pegs go through hoops on the end here, and you just tighten up using this strap, and the 2 side pegs just go through the end of this. So points to note, I guess, is it's got doors on both sides. This is well velcroed down, nice and tight. There's nothing's going to get past that. It's velcroed down at the bottom anyway, and it's the way it's stitched is nice and tight. That's not going to be causing you a problem with stuff blowing in there. The vents, so it's vented here for your end you can put your boots in there from the inside, and you see from inside, look at the end there, you see there's a compartment. You can unzip that, you can put boots or other things in there you want to keep out of the way. In my case, it'd be my boots and my gaiters. You've got the same up this end. I know I'm not on a perfect pitch, this is Pembrokeshire, this is as good as you ever get, okay, in these conditions, but it's actually quite soft. So I didn't bother with a ground sheet. Actually, this tape's sealed here, but I'm not sure about the stitching on the top and the sides, and they do send you seam sealer, so I'm going to seam seal the outside. It'll be fine for tonight, but it's yeah, I think you are required to seam seal the outside, but I'm going to do it anyway, so what's the harm? you know, any points that are likely to have any ingress. But yeah, couple of minor points. So you've got the side vent here, which has got this kind of protection, so you can turn, because the tent is the same either end, you can turn the tent either way, but this protects you from the wind blowing in from this side, and you've got the reverse the other side, and you can unzip the vent here inside. The only thing I would criticise it from so far is a bit of stitching around these Velcro things. Could be better. It's been a bit rushed by the looks of it, but these things do hold it out, but not perfect, but it's on a budget. It's not the most expensive tent. You're paying for a new design, etc., so I can live with it. Now the guys, the spare guys, I think they are for attaching here and pulling this out, but I'm not putting them on now for a reason that you'll find out shortly. But the other thing is you've got the classic toggle and loop here, not the elasticated ones that most people prefer. It is what it is. I always bring my bulldog clips. You know, you want it all. You want lightweight, and you want and you want all the frills. Well, you don't get both. Okay, something has to give. So you've got that type of catch, but you can actually. Oh, here comes the dog back again. So you've got you can open it right out, so you could have a breeze going right the way through it if you wanted it. So yeah, so I'm going to start. I'm going to now put the fly on it, and this is where this tent really shines. But I will say that from an aerodynamic point of view, you're not going to be worrying about this with the wind, are you? I'm not anyway. When you look at that design, and I've seen the videos in the wind tunnel and that, and you can peg it down. You can peg it down. There's loops here where you can peg it if you really, you know, if you know you've got a real big storm coming in, you really could, if you wanted to, just peg this down. But actually 4 pegs is all it takes in normal conditions, so I think that's pretty impressive. But right, I shall start working on the fly sheet now, and there's multiple configurations, but I'm going to go with the one I'm going to go with for tonight to start with, because I haven't even tried the fly sheet on this, but I can see how it clips on. It actually ties in the middle of it. It ties through these holes. Got ties on the fly sheet, but yeah. So I'll just get going on that and bring you back when I've done it. That you can fix on. So I'll just put this on to pull this back a little bit, but I'm not sure how I can pull this out, to be honest with you. But it's possibly to do with tightening it up here in this corner, but I haven't quite got the hang of things yet. I may have a little play with that, see what I can do, but on the whole, we'll see what happens tonight with a not less than ideal sort of pitch. But yeah, what a vestibule. I mean, at night I could drop this completely down, completely shut myself off, or I can just put the fly screen door up and have lots of airflow in there. So I think they've done a good job. I mean, the condensation is the thing that I'm wondering on, but we'll see in the morning, because these are a bit of a breeze now, but these are typical condensation conditions. That the air is always moist here, so I'm thinking, you know, I would definitely get it in my X-Mid for sure, because that thing's a condensation beast. I know how to work around it in that, but it will, round here, it always gets heavy condensation. So yeah, yeah, pretty pleased. There's the Seal Beach down there. If you watch Sam Cully's Pembrokeshire Walk, he he camped on this. I've camped down there as well. I camped down there before he found it. Knew all about it, and I knew about the seals, but it was interesting that he found it. Well, I solved any issues with the tent touching very simply. Basically, I just released the ends on this tent and just pulled the back out, and now I've just created another vestibule area. If I wanted to put like boots, or if I didn't want to use the end compartments, these compartments here for boots, I could just put them in the vestibule, or drying kit out, or I've got a whole big space there. So that's the other thing about this tent, is you can turn it into this massive pitch, or you can have it nice and tight. I mean, if you're in storm conditions, I'm gonna see if how everything fits, if I can fit in there with all my gear. It's going to be tight, but it could work. And so if you're in storm conditions, you wouldn't bother with a fly sheet. Perhaps you just batten yourself down, and or you just fix the fly sheet tight to the tent for a bit of, if the rain is, you know, if you know the rain's going absolutely torrential even, you could just like cinch it all in, and basically have no vestibule space. But you know, I think in this configuration you're going to be good into, you know, reasonably bad weather. I mean, if it starts to get really blowy, and then you might, you know, reconfigure it. But you know, so much versatility with it. You know, it's looking a bit of a monster now, but you know, I don't know, you know, if you've got the space, you might as well use it. So yeah, it's looking, this is pulled over a little bit, but that's it. But yeah, it's we shall see. But yeah, I'm loving it so far, the versatility, and I'm just getting used to all the little bits with it. But you know, it just ticks so many boxes for me. And even at its heaviest, you're only looking at 1.5 kilograms. This potentially could be the only tent I'll ever need, and if it is, I'll be selling quite a lot of tents, much to my wife's approval, I would imagine. But not that she complains, bless her. Yeah, certainly I'll probably just keep one. I'd keep the X-Mid, I think, solid, but the rest of them I think could go. You could, you know, if you needed to, you could in an emergency, you could fit a couple more people in here, because you can always move the fly forward from the back. So there's a, you know, there's any I could have made this made this bit a longer tunnel. I mean, it's fine as it is, but yeah, I could make it higher by using the two trekking poles at each corner, and there's just no end of possibilities. So yeah, I've solved that. Hopefully the any potential condensation touching, may have to tweak it a little bit more, but I think I'll be good now. Yeah, and as you know, I just have to make sure, in case it rains, there's no pooling in this corner. Might have to tighten this up a bit, but yeah, so I'll just crack on for a bit longer, and I'll bring you back inside. Right, so I've had something to eat this evening, and as you can see, I'm now in the Wind Anchor, and I'll just show you a little bit of what it's like. How's that for a vestibule? Pretty spacious. I could have made it a lot bigger, which is the interesting thing, and higher as well. But this is the setup I've done for tonight. Also, that was a Christmas present from the wife, my Outtask light, which is excellent, and that's only on the middle setting. It gives off a whole lot of light. You can charge your phone on it. it's magnetic. You can stick it to a car if you're working on a car. You can do all sorts with it. I wouldn't take it on a through hike, but for this and for lighting, for video and that, it's excellent. Weighs about 700 grams, so it's a bit of a chunky monkey, but you can charge your phone off it as well. Packs down reasonable, but yeah, not a through hiking bit of kit, but for a one nighter, yeah, absolutely fine. So I'll turn the camera around in a bit, but I'm in the tent. Yeah, it is snug in here. I've got my Big Agnes Rapide SL. It's fitted in. I've got my bag next to me, so it's the top of my quilt. There's my rucksack squeezed in next to me, so you can get it all in. Still got a little bit of room this side for bits and bobs. My boots are tucked away in the compartment. Don't know if we can see it here, but yeah, it's a bit dark there, but I'll bring some more lighting in a minute. But yeah, so I'll show you I'll have to show you the netting arrangement in the morning, or maybe I'll get some more light in a minute. But yeah, so I can sit up in here, and I've been sat with my feet out of the tent, sitting up in my little chair. So even though I'm 6'2", I can make it work. Yeah, it's a little bit snug when you've got everything in here, but you know, really the fly sheet, you know, gives you just so much extra space if you want to take advantage of it. As I say, I could have made it bigger and higher, and I probably could have, well, I know I could have made it so I could have sat out there in a chair, but you know, in the warmer months I will almost certainly do that. So okay, I'll turn the camera now so we can you can actually properly see in. Right, so this is the best I can do with the this is kind of like a 28mm lens, so on the camera, so I can't go any wider than this. It's a fixed focal length lens, but it's probably the best option in the circumstances. My ultra wide angle lens struggles to focus a little bit, but yeah, so you can kind of see inside. So when I'm lying down, on a bit of a camber here, but yeah, it's I've got enough headroom here, that's no problem. I can turn over, no issue. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you that this is there's a Big Agnes there. See, it's the Rapide. So yeah, it fits in here. I can shut the door and everything. So and I've got that cavernous vestibule. Which I can either make non-existent or I can make much bigger. And I'll video some different setups as I go along with it, but hopefully give you an impression of how this can work. You know, for those of you who know about it or are wondering about it. And as I say, it was on Kickstarter. I was one of the backers, so I've got it. I'm sure once people see it and see people using it, that they'll be interested in using it, because it is, yeah, it's a mega versatile piece of kit. Now, the interesting thing is there's absolutely no condensation whatsoever. This is bone dry, but absolutely nothing. Even on the, I know you can't see it, but I'm touching the fly sheet, nothing. And I've opened all the vents. I've opened the vents at the foot, although I've got my boots. My boots are in that end, and I've got my gaiters in that end, and I've actually unzipped that end. So because my feet, when I was sitting up, my feet are not quite short enough, not quite long enough for me to sit in the middle and straighten my legs. So I opened that, and then my legs sort of literally go into that little compartment, the ends of my feet. So I tried sitting in it lengthways. So yeah, I mean, on a more level pitch, I'm pretty sure I'd have a little bit more headroom and possibly a little bit more room in general. This is very lumpy and bumpy, typical Pembrokeshire sort of coast clumpy grass conditions. Always, it's like you just never get a level pitch. You just got to get as best as you can. But I think in the circumstances this is pitched well, and it was very quick to pitch. Another thing I didn't mention is although it's not technically a freestanding tent because you have to peg each end really, you can just lift those two pegs out, fold the two ends or lift the two ends into the middle, and you can just move that about and then just drop it and then just peg the two ends out again. So it is for all intents and purposes a freestanding tent, I would say. So that's very easy to do. So if you don't get your pitch quite right, it's easy to relocate it, unless you've already done the fly sheet. I would recommend you make sure you get your pitch right before you do the fly sheet, because I did use quite a few pegs actually. I bought some extra pegs with me. I used a lot of extra pegs with the tweaking the fly sheet. So there is that element to it, but I think it's worth it. The big bonus for me, one of the big things I've found on through hiking is if you're coming to the end of the day and it's belting it down with rain, well, there's a couple of things really. If you want to just get a quick pitch up, this thing you'll struggle to find anything that pitches as quick. The thing that takes the longest is just threading the pole through the ribbing across the top. But even that doesn't take very long. It's not difficult to clip it either end. That's the thing that literally then you just pull it tight at both ends, stick the pegs in, and then just adjust it. Stick a couple of pegs in the side, and you're done. That's it. It's not one of these tents you have to faff about wondering what end is what and all the rest of it, because it's very obvious, because it's basically a diamond shape, so you can't really go wrong. The sides are both the same, so you don't have to worry about messing about. You can just get this thing pitched in no time at all. If you then want to, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, if rain's coming and you're going to be getting in and out of the tent, you can set up the vestibule so that you never need to get the inside of this tent wet. You can just crawl inside the vestibule entrance, just lay something down on the floor, and you can just crawl into this tent and never have to worry about it. You've got plenty of room for your wet gear and everything. I mean, I've got a poncho with me. I could have just laid it out in the vestibule area and just got this massive area for laying kit out and all the rest of it. I mean, the end things for the boots and that, I just thought I'd try them, but I could have just used the vestibule just as easy. I guess it just means that my boots are secure, relatively secure in these compartments. You could use it for other stuff, if you wanted to. Yeah, so there's that. I mean, I had one camp on the coast to coast where I was on a campsite, but it just rained all evening. I was in and out of the tent trying to get my gear sorted, and I had the X-Mid, and the problem with that is when you open I had the X-Mid 1, and when you open unzip the door, water does drop down. I mean, it doesn't drop straight into the at the inner, but it's close enough, and it's just like you're just trying not to get water in, and it's with this thing, crikey, I wouldn't have to worry at all. You could have this wide open like I've got it now, absolutely no dramas. I mean, tonight I'm not going to zip it. All I'm going to do is zip the fly screen up, so there's going to be tons of ventilation in here. There's air coming into the vestibule, and it's I'll have the mesh open. It's actually quite warm tonight. Let's have a look what's saying now. I mean, it's saying, it was 10 at one point. Yes. Let's have a look. Got my readers. Yeah, it's 10.5 degrees, which is it's plenty. It's warm, really. So yeah, I would expect still be expecting condensation, because the air is always moist here on the coast. But it's just nothing. It's absolutely bone dry, which is excellent. It was a far better performance than I was expecting, I've got to say. And they did, to be fair to them, they did say that. They did say about the ventilation and that, and I've got the vents open. You've got zips here. You can see you've got a zip here, and I can put my hand out of the vent. I can feel the outer fly sheet, and that is bone dry. So the design of this, well, for this night anyway, maybe I'm just getting lucky tonight. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I've never known a tent so dry as this in these conditions. I mean, my X-Mid would definitely be wet. Definitely, the outer would definitely be wet. No question about it. It just always gets wet. So I don't know. I mean, we've got to do the rain test yet, and I have got to seam seal it on the outside, or I'm going to anyway. But I'm not worried. I've got to say, I'm not sort of thinking, well, it's you know, it's well stitched. There's a couple of bit of rough stitching around the vents and that, but the actual, all the rest of it is well stitched. It's not sloppy, you know. It's just, I don't know, maybe it was you know, finishing off the vents was a Friday job, but the rest of it is good. Yeah, so very, very impressed. All good. So that's kind of really my fireside chat, is this sort of review of so I don't know if you can see the now I've moved the light, you can see the no, you can't really, can you? You can see the, oh yeah, there you can, up here, that's my pea bottle pouch. This pouch, there's another one here, that doesn't, so coming from the top, that hasn't got anything in it. The two pouches the other side have, so you've got these four pockets in the centre, which are really handy actually. So yeah, I mean, I've got my light in one, I've got a little speaker that I've been listening to podcasts on, Bluetooth speaker, and I've got my ear plugs and all that in the other one. So it's really, you know, you've got everything to hand that you'd want to hand. It's really it's pretty impressive, the design. A hell of a lot of thought has gone into this tent. So so yeah, I think I'll sort of settle down now, chill out for a bit, and then get my head down, and I'll let you know it went overnight. But I'm certainly not worried about any condensation, which was the thing that I thought might be the showstopper with this tent, or might be the thing that would go against it. But really, I've never felt a tent as dry as this in these conditions. So yeah, so far so good. But I'll finish it off now, and I'll bring you back in the morning, and I'll see how the night went. I'll see you in the morning. Right, good morning. So I've modified. I suppose I should go through last night. I had a terrible night's sleep last night. Nothing to do with the tent really. Just really didn't pay much attention to my pitch, because I just wanted light. I knew I was pushed for time, and light was dropping last night. So I spent a lot of time messing around with because I've never put the fly sheet up before, etc. I spent a lot of time messing around. I didn't pay enough attention to the levelness of my pitch, and I was on just about the worst combination of tilt to the side and a tilt head to foot. So it wasn't anything to do with the wind anchor itself, it was just bad drills. So that one's on me. But yeah, my sleeping mat literally just wedged in. So one of the good things is it doesn't slide about all over the place, because it hasn't got room to slide about all over the place. It is cozy in there, and if you don't get your pitch right, yeah, you haven't really got much room to manoeuvre to change that, unless you just move the tent. So but yeah, that's just lesson learned. It's just one of the things I need to learn about this tent. There's certain things you need to pay attention to, and certain things you can get away with. Like all tents have all got their quirks. But in terms of condensation, there was some condensation, but I had this door open because I had the you know, the vestibule covering it. So there was a bit of condensation, but nothing to worry about. Certainly nothing. The wind did pick up a little bit, and I didn't get any like condensation droplets splashing onto me or anything like that. It was just I could just feel it just in a few spots, not all around, just a few spots. There was a little bit, yeah, so I was actually pleased. It actually performed well. I would definitely put it down as a very good on that score. I'll just show you. I've just modified the pitch. I've just modified my pitch a little bit for this morning. Opened it up a bit so I can chill out in the vestibule. If it rained, I'd be fine. And now I've just got to do a little bit of cooking up, have a brew before I start properly packing it down. Yeah, so I just thought I'd show you my modifications I've done on cook set. So I've got this down to a fine art using the, I don't remember what it is now, the Tokes spirit burner, which I really like, but there are certain things you need to be aware of, you have to be careful with. So one of the modifications I've done is I now use it in the Trangia Mini stand. And one of the things I use this over the use the Tokes over the Trangia is A, it's much lighter, and B, it basically plumes straight away. The other thing I can do, it's really easy to manage the fuel on this. So I've got my old school Trangia fuel bottle. I've got a little measuring cup here. So if I measure this half full, it's about 15 mil. So just put that in there. Now, from experience, tells me I should be able to boil up. I've measured. I've basically got a Sea to Summit mug's worth of water in my pan here, and that's enough fuel in there to boil that up. So I'll just show you how the drills work. So just pick that up. These are the best types of lighters for, not teaching anyone to suck eggs, these are the best types of lighters for lighting this kind of fuel, a kind of a rocket lighter. When you're using a normal flame, it's too deep into the toke, so I've got this one. It's great. I can see how much fuel I've got in it. Lights it straight away. Right, that's primed already now. Good on that. Another thing, this little saucepan I've got has got holes in the lids, so I don't have to keep lifting the lid off to check if it's boiling. The steam will just come straight through the top here, and I know by how much steam is coming through whether it's boiling. I can normally hear it as well. And this boils really quickly, so we'll see. It's only going to be 3 minutes or so. So just get my brew ready. Sun's just coming up over the hills there. That's all good. But yeah, one of the things I should have mentioned actually about the bathtub on this, I think it's rated to 5,000. Solid bathtub, not overly heavy, but just right, I would say. So that's why I didn't bring the footprint, because for this ground I don't really need it. It's not rocky under here. Checking it's still going. This is fine. You know, when I'm through hiking with this tent, I won't bother with a footprint. This is definitely solid enough. I still feel the heat. So it's very quiet, this tote, so I have to just check it sometimes. But yeah, so the actual bathtub on the Wind Anchor is good quality on the Pro version. This version, I'm sure it is on the standard model, is really good. No issues there whatsoever. But yeah, this I mean, as you can see, I've got my bag up to my right, as you can see. I've got tons of room here, and I could pull it even further. As I said, I think I said yesterday, I could pull it even further, adjust it and just pull it. It's dependent on the ties to the hoop in the middle, how far you can pull it, but I could pull this out even further, make it higher, all sorts. So yeah, I'm just going to show you another little tip with one of the things that people don't like about the totes, and I found this out, is putting it out, because once it gets going, it kicks out a fair old flame, and it's can be problematic trying to put it out. So just still going. But I'll show you a little trick that I found out. So I did actually make a snuffer, which is can, but it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And yesterday I couldn't get it to work, so I was like a bit well, that's not great then, because I just had to let it burn through the fuel, and that's not the idea. So, but what I discovered is, on the bottom of my all-day breakfast tin, you got these concentric, you got these circles here, and it's indented. So I looked at it and I thought, well, I wonder if the bottom of this can will work. So I tried it, and it snuffs it straight away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottom of this can out and just use that as a snuffer. You can see now it's boiling. Just do the be careful, because it's hot coming at us. Yeah, that's boiling. Right, so I'll just show you. So as I lift this off, you can see there's quite a flame coming out of there. Voila, done. And there is still actually fuel in there. I'll check that in a minute, because every little counts. One other thing with these saucepans, whatever you do, don't accidentally flip the lid upside down, because it nestles straight in the pan, and you can't get it out, which is something else I discovered. These are great, these saucepans, and there are various different companies making them. These, yeah, if you flip this lid upside down, and I'm not going to do it because it's a pain. I managed to get it out, but it was, you know, when there's boiling water underneath, it wasn't great. But this will flip, and it will sink in perfectly. And even using the pliers on my Leatherman, I couldn't prise it out. I had to use a knife and just work it out. Got it out in the end, but yeah, that wasn't one of my favourite camping moments, I've got to say. So while I'm letting that brew, I'll just show you what I do now. So yeah, the totes cools down really quickly as well. So I've got my little measuring cup. Oh, not much, barely any, but depends on temperatures and varies. But sometimes I'll get like a fair bit out the bottom left, but I mean, I'll just do it just to show you. But if I have got any sort of fuel left, and there was a little bit there, goes back in the fuel bottle. So I'm not wasting fuel at all using this. I mean, that's all I've used. This is a 350ml bottle. That's all I've used making brews, 2 brews and a meal, 3 brews now and a meal, and that's all I've used. So it's pretty effective, and I do prefer it using, right, makes a good cup holder as well. So I do prefer using meths to get, because it will work in all temperatures.
So it's all good as far as I'm concerned. Right, so that's my little cook kit set up, and I'm thinking I may take this one on the coast to coast, the sequel. I should say as well, I know I haven't posted videos for ages, but I've got a whole backload of videos to do. I've just been busy with all sorts of stuff. So I'm posting this one up because I think people want to see the wind anchor. Those that know about it will want to know, want to see stuff about it. But so yeah, I have got a whole back catalogue of stuff, of camps and that, which I just haven't got round to doing, uploading. And I had to upgrade my computer as well. So yeah, that's this is my little cook setup. It doesn't weigh too much. Packs down into the saucepan apart from the fuel bottle. But if I was going on if I'm doing a through hike, I'll probably take a full 500ml bottle and use that, and that'll just stow separately. But it's a bit like having a separate gas canister. On the coast to coast, I'll be able to refuel if I need to, somewhere like Richmond. So yeah, but that's my little setup. It's all very light. And the lighter's probably one of the chunkiest things. But yeah, all goes into this. All goes into the saucepan. I've got a sponge. Goes in the bottom. Circular dry sponge goes in the bottom. And yeah, I've just got to modify now. I'll cut this can up. Something sharp on that. To make a snuffer using the bottom, which I'll just get a Dremel and cut around this, burr off, take off any burrs, and so I don't slice my fingers open with it, and I'm good. So yeah. I'll finish my brew, and I'll bring you back afterwards when I'm starting to pack down. So I just thought I'd bring you back and just show you my complete cook set that I've just been talking about. So I wanted, for through hiking, one of the things I learned was I don't want to just be able to boil water, because you haven't always got just a boil in the bag meal. If you pop into a shop like that, you can get some much nicer food that just needs a bit of frying, or a little bit of oil. Well, I carry some lard with me, which keeps, by the way. You don't have to keep it in the fridge. Keeps for a good 6 months. So if I want to pick up a bit of meat or something like that, I want to have some eggs or something, I can do it with this cook set. So I've got the little, you can buy these about 15 quid, the saucepan and the frying pan. Got the handles built onto. One tip on the handles is don't use it over something that's narrow underneath. This will balance it no problem if you've got it on a stable platform. And also so just to show you, so you've just got to be careful with these handles because they pull a little bit, but if you had like a steak in there, that would be all right, so the counterbalances it. In fact, most things, so that'll be okay with the pot. This works well with my windshield, so there's no issue with this tipping at all, but just with a pan you've got to be a little bit careful. But I wanted the ability to use a pan for rice and stuff, so I bought this set, very lightweight, anodized aluminium, so it's coated, pretty easy to clean actually, relatively non-stick I would suggest, very easy to clean. Got my little sponge, sits in the bottom there, so that just drops onto the frying pan there. Then what I've got that goes in it, I've got obviously my stand, and this is quite useful because if this got knocked, I don't tend to fill it anywhere near to the top. If it got knocked, the alcohol will just sit in the bottom there. But that sits in there. I've got my little measuring thing, weighs nothing, so that goes in there. Got my rocket lighter, that pops in there. I've got this for frying, spatula, sort of scraper, whatever. That works really well. Got a little cleaning sponge, scourer, that pops in there. And just got this windshield just pops. It will sit basically on the top there. Lid goes on top of that. That then goes into this bag. And then my fuel bottle, my 350 fuel bottle. And bear in mind, just as I say, 3 brews and a meal I've had out of that. Well, that's heating food up, not boiling water. And that just sits in there. When I pull the drawstring tight, I've got it all together then. So that works for me. That's a good little setup, not too heavy. I mean, it's the fuel that's most of the weight in this, and you'll get that, you know, with your gas canisters and all the rest of it. But I reckon, being careful, I could probably take this fuel bottle on coast to coast and probably get away with that if I'm careful with my fuel and I'm not you know, being too elaborate with my meals. And the other thing with the toques is if the fuel runs out, if you're cooking for longer, it's dead easy just to top it up again. You haven't got to mess about. You know, it cools really quickly. I could probably just pour some fuel straight into it. So, you know, if I'm careful. So we're using my little measuring cup. So, no issues there. It's just it works really well. This, you know. So this is kind of my solution. Anyway, I shall carry on packing up, and then I'll show you my setup just before I pack down.
Right, so just the final pack up to do. So this is how I just modified it for this morning. Just lifted this corner up, just pulled it out. But yeah, as you can see, we had gusts into double figures last night. Nothing to worry about. Certainly nothing that this thing can't handle. But you can see at the back here, I pulled this out. I did get a little bit of flapping on this last night, but again, it's just getting to know the tent and knowing how to counter for things like that. But to be honest with you, if I'd have walked 15-20 miles, as I know from experience, no amount of noise with my earplugs in bothers me. I'll just crash out. But yeah. And you can see how flat it is at the back here. I mean, yeah, I'm on a bit of a slope, but no water or anything's getting in there. Might get a bit of pooling on top if it rained heavy. Got a bit of here, but again, there are things I could do. I could have put a trekking pole at the back here and lifted the back up, and there's all sorts of things you can do, obviously, just to modify it. And yeah, so this thing is like, there's an awful lot to learn using this thing. It's not like any other tent. You've really just got to experiment with it and get to know it and know its quirks and that. But yeah, it's I think that's part of the fun for me, to be honest. But yeah, it's an absolutely cracking bit of kit. I mean, I could have moved the back here right the way forward on both sides and have loads more room, made it higher and all the rest of it. But obviously I chose to do it at a bit of a, you know, this seemed like the best option at the time. But when I take the fly off, I'll bring you back and I'll show you it basically ties to the hoop, the pole going through the middle, and that affects how far forward you can pull it. That's the only thing that really stops you from pulling it. There's a maximum you can pull it forward, which I'll show. Hopefully it will make sense. But yeah, so I'll start packing it down now, and I'll sort of show you what I mean in a minute. Right, just to show you what dictates how far forward you can bring the fly sheet is these loops here. So you tie these off through these holes, and so this is the furthest rear for this particular setup. So if I moved that to the top here, I could have brought this sheet a lot further forward. I could even take it further forward still, and it'll be a bit of trial and error on this one, but that's essentially what you do, to bring the from a side pitch, because you can also do the lengthways pitch. So if you've got the wind coming at you from this, coming in this direction, you want the fly sheet sort of in this direction here, then you could bring it all the way forward from the rear up to here. And I haven't worked out how to do that yet, but I've seen pictures of it, I've seen video of it, so it can be done. I've got a rough idea how to do it, but there's all these things you can do in terms of experimentation to get yourself you know, the optimum setup. So I'm going to have some fun over the next few months and practicing setting this thing up in various ways. I've seen loads of different options for it. I mean, you can even use it in a hammock. So, but I haven't looked into that. But yeah, so there's a ton of options. One of the things that caused me a little bit of an issue last night was I pulled the tent. The tent was pulled too far this way. So what I would do next time, I think, in this situation, is I would probably have a guy off of one of these holes underneath the fly sheet, just to hold it back, because that cost me some height, and you know, but because it's on a slope, as you can see, it's leaning that way anyway. So yeah, but that was one of the issues, which one of the things I learned. You can, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a pretty nasty pitch, this one. But you can see that's where I had my boots last night. I did actually put them in there, and that worked fine. And I actually put my gaiters in this end. But again, on a more level, flat piece of ground, I'd have a tauter pitch, and you know, been able to pull this up higher, and number of things. But yeah, so but I had plenty of room for my bag there, including my big Agnes mat. So, and I still even had some room here. So these are the pockets. The one there, and you got them this side as well, here and here. So and you've even got the zip access to the vents. Well, so the vents weren't really operational last night because the fly was over the vents here. Fly was over the top, but I still managed to work out a way of getting airflow into the tent. And the other thing I did, I checked, was with the fly over it, I unzipped the door this side. You can't really see it, hang on. I opened up this door and see how it affected it, and that let in loads of air. In fact, it let in too much, so I shut it. It was a bit too cool at that time, so I closed it up. But if I'd have so wanted, I could have just left that open, and it made a big difference in terms of airflow. Even I was still under the fly sheet that side, so yeah, you can control the air coming into this thing with you know, how, you know, sort of using the fly sheet. So yeah, right, I'll just finish up packing up. Just one thing I thought I'd show you as I'm packing up. something that I wondered about, but I didn't really sort of suss it, was what this flap is here. But actually, what you can see what it's for. So you could put a guy on here if you're in just sort of bare bones pit mode. It's catching the breeze and sending it into the, you know, the wind directions. Basically, the wind is basically coming in from this direction, and it's catching it and funneling it through. Now this side, let's just pop that open. So you can see this is what in their promo videos they did make a big point of saying about the wind, about the condensation, and how the airflow works, and it does work as they describe it. So you can see that the air is coming in this side and it's funneling through, coming out this side, because the wind is coming from this direction. So you can see it's clearly working how they explain it. So yeah, good design. Thecatal, impressed with that. So yeah, that's another reason why the condensation should be less. It's well managed on this tent. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that, because I thought it's quite a useful. That's proof of concept basically. You can see better there how it's filling up this side, coming through, so you get nice airflow there. Right, I just thought I'd show you how easy it is to pack up this tent. So I've taken the pole out. You just take the end peg out, bring it to here, take the other end peg, see how big these pegs are. Then it's just a case of fold that side in, fold that side in, fold that in, flip it over, then pegs. So that's nice and easy. Straps. This is the most fiddliest part actually. They only go in one way. Let's twist that one. I'll sort that out later. I'll dry it. There we go. That just goes straight into the bag. And that's it. And there is actually room in this bag, so that's the main tent. Here's the fly sheet. Look how that can squeeze right down. That can go in there, no problem. I'm pretty sure you can pack it up, leaving it on the tent. So you could have it all together if it was dry, but I'll keep them separate. So there's the main, there's the fly. 1.5 kilograms all in. So there, I just thought I'd show you that. Look how easy that was. I mean, really, in most conditions, you're only going to need 4 pegs. Right, it's all packed up. Probably that spot over there would have been a flatter spot for me, but there's a little bit of a path that goes up on the top there. But another spot I'm probably going to try is looks quite flat over there. I've been up there but I can't remember, but that's there's another possibility up there, but I would definitely be camping in the seal area down there at some point. I didn't see any last night, but it was dark early, so but this is a good spot for them. But anyway, so this is it's been a UK introduction to the Wind Anchor. It does exist, it's not a fiction. Kickstarter has happened, they're flying out. I'm sure I'm not the only UK person who's punted on one, but I'm very glad I did. I would expect demand for them to be quite high. I would certainly recommend them. I put the price and all the details, the weights and everything up on screen, but for the versatility it gives me, I paid something around, remember off the top of my head, 300 and something, 320, something like that, but it was a bit of a gamble. But they have made tents before. I think they're a bit of a fledgling company, so I gambled, and I think that one's paid off. So yeah, so that's the spot down there where I was. Yeah, haven't had it, given it a proper rain test, but I will seam seal it. And we'll see, but it's still nylon. I mean, we know that stuff works, so just making sure the stitching's good, really. So that's it for this one. I'll be doing other wind anchor videos when I get the chance, so hope you enjoyed this little test and in the Welsh countryside. And if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. If you don't, have a great life, and get through here, and God bless to all of you. I'll catch you on the next one.